Hey, hi, bro. How are you doing?
I'm good, Atishay. What about you?
Doing good, bro. Doing good. Enjoying your Saturday evening?
Yeah, actually, I'm enjoying my Saturday evening, and yeah, I mean,
Okay, bro. Amazing. Bro, आज के लिए what I thought, let's talk about the very important piece of the entire puzzle, which is a project, that is stakeholder, right? We have to, as a project manager, as a business analyst, we need to interact with a lot of different stakeholders for a project. तो मैंने सोचा कि let's talk about stakeholders today, how to manage stakeholders, how to improve your relationship with stakeholders, and maybe our personal experiences working with different stakeholders through our journey
yes,
so
sure.
far, career journey so far. So, शुरू करें bro?
Yeah, let's get started. Let's get started. Yeah. So, this is one of the interesting topic you have chosen today. Yeah. So, stakeholder management, like whoever is facing towards the client side, okay, for them it is very important, like how you communicate, how you manage your relationship with your client, how you are dealing with them, what kind of attitude you are having. So that is very important, because you are the one who's leading and bringing the business for your company, okay, for that, which is very important. So what do you want to know from my side? What should I tell about my previous experience to you? Like what kind of details you need?
So, bro, let's start with the basic definition of stakeholder. What is it? What exactly is stakeholder management or stakeholders of a project? Then you can tell us your story of working with different stakeholders and how you navigate your stakeholders in different project, manage
Yeah.
difficult stakeholder situations. So you can share your
Okay.
journey. But let's start with the definition first.
Okay, so when we say stakeholders, so like in simple terms, whoever influence our project, that's what we define as stakeholder. Okay, if we go and read from a general terms of what exactly the definition of stakeholders. Okay, but on if others perspective, there are a lot of people in professional also say stakeholders to the clients. Okay, on the client side, like they are our stakeholders. But in general terms, everyone who's just influencing our project, they are the stakeholders. Okay, so in this podcast, I think we will cover most of the thing is all about the client side, like how you manage, because that is very important. Okay. And on next video, next podcast, we'll discuss all about the team and how you manage your management. Okay. So I think let's cover today about your client side first. Okay. So if I talk about myself, so I think I don't have much experience, but in just last 3 years, I've been worked with more than 40 plus international clients. Which includes international and Indian both. Okay, and and I tell you one thing, Atishay. So which is very good with me. I never got escalated from a single client from last 3 years. I've worked with more than 40 clients, but I never
Hmm.
got escalated from a single client. So that is one thing which is proud for me. Okay, and there are a lot of things, lot of things happened with me. In terms of like when I manage the project, when I do the things, when I talk to the client. So first thing, if I talk about in terms of when we say about the stakeholder management, it's all about the communication skills. Okay, very important for for being into the leadership position, what exactly you are understanding the requirement from the client and what exactly you are delivering. Okay, so that is one of the main important thing which we need to understand. And if I talk about second thing, is all about to build a good relationship. Okay, it's all about the trust. Okay, because when we say about the trust and loyalty, then only one person can continue a business with you on a longer term. Okay, so if I talk about myself, so like I got a lot of repeated business from the same client just because of my that behavior of making a good relationship with the
Hmm.
client.
Correct.
So when we say about the relationship, it's all about like you can share a lot of details about like what exactly going on, and the way you manage with the client, that's so gently you need to speak with them. So that is what I have realized so far, because relationship is very important with the client. Okay, if I talk about I talk there's one yeah, so there's one project. Okay, and which is related to something called tracking of a sleep. Okay, so we have a client from Spain, Atishay. Okay. And in that project, we got a deadline for almost 1 month. Okay. So we need to complete everything because the APIs is completed from the backend team already, because they are managing the backend, and we just need to implement on the front end side. Okay. And in that project, I mean, it was, quite challenging for us, because we need to deliver everything in just 1 month. Okay. And that was one of the challenging moment for me at that time, because I know very well that my team is not capable enough to deliver that whole complete thing in just 1 month, right? But we also need to take the project as well. Okay. So it is well said, like, first of all you say yes, then you find out how to resolve that. So what I did, I mean, we have taken that project, and I know, like, then I started talking to my HR team, what's
Hmm.
going on, what's not going on. We hired a new candidate for that. Okay, we
Hmm.
start hiring for that. And for that complete 1 month, it was really difficult for me. I mean, really
Hmm.
challenging for me, when you have new client, and you are just having a discussion with them, and they are asking update from you what you have
Hmm.
done, and you have committed already for 1 month to complete whole project, and where you haven't started anything. So that was one of the most challenging thing for me. And they're the things which we are talking about, the relationship which comes into the picture. Okay. If I'm not very good in relationship, I think we might have lost that project. But still, just because of my attitude, just because, like, the client trust on me, on those 1 month, okay, I just go on a call, I tell them that this is the thing, and I request them that these are the dates, and we can deliver you in that date. Okay. And they just trusted on us. And at the end of the result, we have just finally launched that application in Spain market, for after 4 months. Yeah, we took 4 months, but yeah, we have delivered on time. So that is what the relationship comes into the picture. Okay. So if you build a good relationship, again, client will definitely going to come back to you. And the result with that is all about, now we are upgrading that application to the international market. So this is the example. Okay. Sometimes what happens, sometimes you might face some kind of bullshit client as well. Okay. So every time you don't face gentleman and good clients. Okay. Sometimes they're going to challenge about your integrity, about your personality. Okay. So in that case, how you can manage, because those clients can ruin your reputation as well in your company. Okay. So I also might face one client, okay, who has already have ruined one of my project manager career. So he spoke a lot of bad words, that you don't know about this thing, you don't know about this thing. So for that, I mean, you need to deal with different people in different way. Okay. And every time you cannot be in a requested mode. Okay. Sometimes you need to be push your things in a kind of thing, where you dominate others. Okay. Where you request, you don't need to request, where you challenge others as well. Okay. So it was a client of mine from Iraq. Okay. And he's kind of guy who's very adamant and kind of arrogant kind of behavior he's having. And it was very difficult for me to, because my previous project manager was already escalated from the same client. Okay. And now I got an opportunity to work on this project, and it was quite difficult for me to manage this project, because I wasn't that much experienced. So in that case, I mean, you need to show your attitude. You need to very proactive with your emails, like what exactly your conversation is going on. You need to be very straightforward with these kind of clients, where you cannot go for the relationship. Not every time you don't need to go for a relationship, because that depends upon the person to person. Who respect you, you need to respect them. So that was the thing with me with that client, and we got a lot of heated moments as well. But for that, there is always proof that you have is all about your writing, your emails, the way you have discussed the scope. Those things is going to be useful for us. So I mean, in simple terms, if I talk about so there should be some fun should be there, but there should be the kind of discipline also needs to be there.
Hmm.
And you should be very proactive with your emails. You should be very proactive with your documentation, like what exactly the scope. And you should be very good in your communication skills. So that's what my thought, and that's what I realized. So, I mean, that's all about me, Atishay. And these are the two stories, as I told you, about my experience with my stakeholders. And I think I've given you like what exactly I thought, that if you managing the stakeholder, you should have those kind of, behavior, attitude, communication skills, and understanding when you go with those kind of clients. Okay. So, I mean, I just want to understand from your side, like, how was your experience, because you are a part of business analyst team, and for you as well, things was pretty difficult, to gather the requirement. Because for me, it is quite simple, because for being a project manager, the things is all about, you need to work on the deadlines and all kind of supporting things. Okay. But being a business analyst, it is quite difficult to understand the requirement and to maintain the scope. Okay. And to fix all the things. So that is one of the challenging things. So what about your take from here, and what do you think, like, how to manage the stakeholders? Yeah.
So, bro, you are spot on. Being a business analyst not an easy task. In fact, yesterday I was having a conversation with someone. So I was explaining the person about pros and cons of a BA profile. Nowadays everyone wants to jump into this profile. The reason being, especially people who are into software development, who are into testing profiles, the reason being they think it as a very cool profile, a less intense profile like coding. But trust me, it's not a easy profile. In fact, it's less rewarding and more demanding profile. This is what my understanding is of the same. You have to deal with a lot of stakeholders, you have to manage a lot of stakeholders, you have to do firefighting a lot of time. In fact, your entire day sometimes just went into resolving a particular issue. You're not that much productive that day, but you are just resolving a issue for someone, maybe for a development team, maybe for a client. So when it comes to stakeholder management in business analysis world, so it's really important that you build a very good rapport with the client. You should always empathize with the client and the requirements of the client. It's very important that you understand what exactly the client wants as an end product. Sometimes what I have seen is client can tell you this is what I want as an end goal, and you so and that the client doesn't give you a complete picture how he visualizes it, and uh, what steps may fall in between, right? That is where a business analyst comes in. Business analyst job is to recommend the solution, the exact solution to fulfill that requirement. So the reason I say empathize with the client is, uh, uh, when when a client gives you a requirement, try to understand the requirement and then propose a solution, right? What will be the best fit. Sometimes I've seen many business analysts, they just try to sell off a particular product or a particular service, not even empathizing with the client's need, right? They just want to fulfill their objectives, their company's objective, by cross selling, by selling off a product and service. So what you need to do is you need to understand the client requirement and then recommend a solution, right? So that is first thing when it comes to stakeholder management. Another thing is honesty. A lot of times project managers, even business analysts, commit false deadlines against projects, right? Against project deliveries. So that is wrong. That is a wrong practice. You need to be upfront, you need to be honest. If you can't deliver something in a month or 2 months, be upfront about it, that it's a complex problem, it's a complex project.
there
And
is there is one conflict there is one conflict, Atisha. So, like, in my case, as I told about you the story, so in that case, what do you think, what should I need to do? Like, they need the project in just 1 month. Okay. And if we don't say yes, so that project is going to, we will going to lose that project. Okay. So in that case, what do you think?
so
Because
you
from my side, I understand,
hmm.
like, it will definitely going to take, more than 3 to 4 months, because we don't have the resource. So as you are telling the show, you need to be very honest. So in that case, what should a
You should be
manager should
upfront
do?
with the client. So what you can do is you can tell the client that we can provide you with the minimal viable product in a month, right? It won't be the exact or total product. It would be some operational service or product, right? You will be providing with the MVP in a month's time. So the client can also validate it, right? That if you have understood the requirement properly, if the technology is correct, then after that, once you got the sign off from the client, you can then straighten out the timelines or work on the timelines to do the full product delivery. So you have to
Mhm.
be upfront, right? If you commit something and you can't deliver on it, it will it will leave a very bad impression or even more worse impression to the client that you made a false commitment, and they might not give you business next time because they know you just make fake
Mhm.
promises and don't deliver. So that is one thing which I have learned, that you need to be honest, you need to be upfront with the client instead of trying to pacify the client later on if something mishappening happens or you aren't able to meet your promises. So that is one,
Yeah.
that is another point. Be honest with your client.
But but sometimes it is very hard to be very honest,
I know it's
Atish, yeah. Because being into management position, because a lot of things always happen, a lot of risk are always there. Sometimes, resource are resigned. So in that case, you don't have, anything in your hands. Okay, you cannot manage everything. So in that case, you should, come up with something, some false assumptions, so those kind of things. But yeah, your point is almost correct. Like wherever you should be, you should for to win the trust, you need to be very honest with your clients. If you will not, honest, so at once you can win their trust, but next time they'll not come up a business with you. So that is your, that's a fact. Yeah,
and
go
that is
ahead,
why
Aditya.
it's recommended that you also keep a buffer time. So if something can be done in, let's say, 3 weeks, say to the client 4 weeks, or uh, put 4 weeks as a delivery stop point. So you have one buffer week in case some mishap happens, or in your example, maybe a resource resigned, or maybe a testing failed, or something like that. Right? So it's good to always keep a buffer time so you can. It's always, so there's a statement also, always under commit and over deliver, right? If you can deliver something in 3 weeks, say 4 weeks, and once you've done it in 3 weeks, the client will always applaud you by saying that you have overachieved the target or you have over deliver. So it's a very good statement, especially in project management. Under commit, over deliver.
That's really cool, Atish. And one more thing, like you have given, a good, insightful idea about like how you need to manage and what are the things. I just want to ask you like about your personal thing. Like, have you ever been to, some kind of heated moment with your client? Any kind,
I
any
do
time?
have
Like,
many
yeah,
times, bro.
okay.
Many times I do have.
So can you share, some kind of story related to that? What was that, and how you manage those situations? So that would be really helpful. Yeah.
Sure, sure. I can share one example. So there is one example where there was a conflict between the timelines only. The client in your it's very similar to your example. So the client wants to have a MVP or minimal viable product in 1 month's time, but I know it couldn't be delivered in 1 month's time because that way we will do a very lousy job, not a very good job, right? So the client was adamant that I need that to be delivered in 4 weeks time, but I have to be upfront with the client. I have to tell him that it's a very complex problem statement. I need at least 2 weeks to figure out a solution, then another 2 3 weeks to build the product and do the testing. Then I can build a uh, initial product for you, or initial minimal viable product for you. But the client was very much, stringent on the timeline. He wants to deliver it ASAP, and it was a heated moment for me. But later on, the client I get on a one-on-one call with the client. So all the conversation was happening over emails, right? And when you are conversing over emails, you can't express your body language, you can't express your emotions that accurately when you are in a face-to-face meeting or even a virtual meeting, right? So instead of me replying to the emails, what I did was I stopped replying to the emails. I just blocked 50 minutes of his time as per his availability for the day. And I just mentioned in the subject line that, hey, let's connect and try to resolve this. The client came on the call. We had so I start the conversation by saying or telling about the progress made on the project so far and what we have achieved so far, not just trying to you know uh, condescending for the fact that we can't deliver the project in 4 weeks of timeline. So I started with sharing the progress, what we have accomplished so far and what we have delivered so far. And then I try to then I then I get to know from the client why he wants the product to be delivered in 4 weeks of time. And I got to know the reason that uh, so they are approaching the financial quarter, and this was one of the project which got delayed by a few months due to something, and he's also quitting the organization. Okay, so he wants to get it done before his tenure in the organization ends and before the financial closing. So I told him that we will be able to not even I told him that not only we will be able to deliver a product if you just give us extension of 2 weeks, we will be able to over deliver it. We can also add certain features which were not discussed initially, but it could be a good fit to the product. So I try to empathize him by saying uh, that allow his extension of 10 to 15 days, and trust me, uh, what initially we have pitched to you, to the stakeholders, to your team members, we will do a better job than it. He understood my part also, that it's a complex problem and we need more time, and we stick to the timelines, and we work day in and day out, and finally when we deliver the product, and we demonstrated the product to him and his team members, his supervisors, he was extremely happy, and it was one of the best project that he have also done in the organization with us. So that was one example or one story I could remember on the top of
So
my mind.
here you compensate with the client, huh?
Right,
with
I try to
with the
understand why
additional
he was
feature.
pushing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you need to understand from the client perspective also. So
yeah,
when I got to know
exactly.
that the reason he is pushing the timeline was uh, he wants to close it before his tenure in the organization ends, right? So that is why he was
Yeah,
so pushy, because he wants to leave a good legacy before he resigns or before
I
his tenure
understand.
ends in the organization. So I
I
told him
understand. I
that we
understand.
will be able to do it well in time before your last working day on the organization, and also we will be adding certain more features to it, so it leaves
Exactly.
a good impression on your supervisor and
Yeah,
on your senior management.
yeah.
So
So
you need to
then he
understand from
understand the
client perspective also
then he
sometimes.
understood the things, and then the things get a bit, a cold over there, huh? Okay, so
Correct.
that's really a good lesson to learn from here. It's all about like you also need to understand the pain point of your client as well, right?
Right.
Like why he's pushing, what exactly the reason behind it. Because when you don't understand those kind of things, you cannot work that kind of empathy that you have, use the word in starting. Okay, if you don't understand the pain point, if you don't understand the things, if you take it like professionally, like this is my this work day job, so then it's not never going to be work like the way you want to build a relationship. For that you just need to be more into the shoe of your client, why exactly this is going on, like why he wants the date, why exactly he's pushing us. So because we also need to understand the reason of the things, right? So that's really a good lesson to learn. Yeah, Atisha. So I mean, that's really a good story. And so I also need to understand like what what was your lesson so far in terms of in terms of like you have been
Hmm.
worked with a lot of clients. Okay, so what was your understanding and lesson that you thought like that can uh to those, like suppose they are the new project manager and business analyst, okay, who just want to start their career. So what kind of few 4 or 5 tips that you want to give them, like when they start a call with the client, or how they can manage everything with them. So like 4 or 5 kind of tips or takeaways they can take from this, like from your experience so far, and that
Sure.
can save their time or save them from any kind of escalation from the stakeholder side. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, bro. So when it comes to stakeholder management, you need to make sure that whenever meeting or call you are scheduling with different stakeholders, it should have an agenda or objective, right? Don't just set up a call for the sake of just having a conversation. Set up a call because you need to have that conversation, right? So always have a agenda for the meetings when you're meeting your client, and it's a good practice that before the meeting, you always send agenda for the meeting or agenda of the conversation as an email in the attachment in the email body, so the client knows what exactly you wants to have a discussion in the meeting. So that is one point. After the meeting, it's a good practice that you also publish minutes of the meeting. So many times what happen is we discuss something on the call, we agree on certain points on the call, but after few days and few weeks, uh, there is again a disagreement because we have not documented what the client give us the confirmation on, or sometimes we even forget, right? So it's always good to publish the minutes of the meeting after the call to as a documentation of what was discussed and what were the next steps. So that is the second point. And when it comes to stakeholder management, so stakeholders are also aware of, the client is also aware of that this is what we have discussed as the next steps, and this is what we have agreed on in this meeting, right? Third point is very important, that you need to collaborate with your stakeholders, right? It's not just you take requirements on a call and your job is done. When it comes to collaborating with the client, you need to collaborate with the client on each and every step. After gathering the initial requirements, when you create a mock-up, when you create a design or even a document, check with the client that is it appropriate, or take feedbacks. Okay, so it's very good to take feedbacks on each and every step of project management, so the client is also aware of the the progress you are making on the project, and you're also making sure that whatever you are delivering or whatever you are creating is as per the client requirement. So take constant feedback from the client, keep the client in loop. If I have to put it in this way, keep the client in loop with each and every step of the project. And the final point which I can say, which we've also discussed few minutes back, be honest, right? It's good to be honest and make false promises which you can't meet. So be honest with the client about the project deadlines, about the kind of technology which you are supposed to use, even about the pricing and budgeting. Many times what happen is you initially commit on a certain budget for the project, but after a month or after some time you just get back to the client saying, hey, we we need some additional budget for this technology needs certain more money to get loaded in this project, or I need more resources, in hand resources, to get it done faster or asap, so we need to increase the budget. it it's it's possible that sometimes your requirement are genuine, but don't just do it for the sake of getting more money from the client, because client is sometimes also helpless because they have already uh, funded you so far. They've already invested that much of money in the project so far, and they also just want to get out of it, right? But next time the client won't give you a business because the client knows that it's just for you, it's a way to just make more money by uh, under committing on a budget than taking getting more money from the client, right? So make sure that you are stringent on the project deadlines and you're honest with the client about each and every aspect of the project. So these are few tips, bro, which I believe can help everyone who are just about to get started in the world of project management or business analysis, and even people who are a seasoned business analysts and seasoned business project managers.
I mean, that's really nice, the way you have summarized, Atish. And I think this is how, project management and business analyst world working these days. Okay. So the way you have summarized, like if I, summarize everything. So it's all about you have to set the agenda of the meeting. Okay. That is first thing. It should be very relevant agenda. Okay. There's no for go and having some kind of chat that looks like you also have free time. Okay, so for that, always value client time and set an agenda. Second thing is all about be very perfect of your minutes of meeting, which is very important because a lot of times you got disagreement, and that always happens. So if you have the meeting notes, you can always be checked, and that can also help to
Right.
go and sometimes you miss some points. Okay, so in that case you can go and check those points and can rewind those things and can check up with your team. So that is second thing. Third thing is always be very solid with your documentation kind of work, which is very important. Fourth is all about your honesty with the client. So these are the four things which is very important, which I think like whoever the viewers and whoever wants to start their career in a project management or business analyst, so this is wonderful takeaways they can take. And we have, I mean, given a lot of tips as well, like how you can build a great relationship. And if I talk about like if someone is very it's very difficult for them to make friends, so it's we have already recommended in our last episode like How to Win and Influence Friends. So you can go with that book and you can understand like how you can make friends. Okay, so that book really helpful for you to create a good relationship either with your friends, either with your management level, or either is with your client as well. And that is going to be really one of the best thing that you can take, right? And apart from that, any other thing, Atisha, you want to give to the
I guess we
viewers?
have covered a lot of good points in this
Yeah.
video about stakeholder management. But guys, in case if we have missed on any point, feel free to write in the comment section below. So other viewers and listeners of this video can also see to it. And if in case you have more questions around business analysis, project management, stakeholder management, or even anything journal in life and career, feel free to shoot me or Shubham a DM on LinkedIn. We are very active on LinkedIn, or you can even email us. I will put mine and Shubham's email ID in the video description below. So make sure you reach out to us with your questions. You reach out to us on on Instagram, LinkedIn, and yeah, see you next time in the next video. Thank you
Yeah,
so
so
much, guys, for watching.
that's really nice. And if you want to become a good project manager and business analyst, then continue our journey with me and Atish, and just like and subscribe and share our videos and be awesome. Thank you. Bye. Bye.